Tonight, surviving a second crucial confidence vote. The next hurdle for the Liberals to stay standing.
I sure hope that the opposition parties see how much is in that budget for their own regions.
Who backed the budget and what the Tories are saying about caucus turmoil.
The only rumors I've heard of intimidation and harassment are from Liberals.
Plus, gunshots ring out at a BC ostrich farm.
They were full of life, full of love.
How a government agency is responding to the controversial cull. And making history on the college court.
This is as loud as it's been all night.
The new basketball record broken by a towering Canadian teenager.
The support from everybody was amazing.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Mark Carney's minority government passed yet another test on Parliament Hill. The Liberals surviving the second make-or-break confidence vote in as many days. It caps off a chaotic week in Ottawa that featured a budget, a floor crossing, and a resignation from the Conservative caucus. CTV's Rachel Aiello on the questions being asked of leaders today.
How many seats do you need to have a majority?
I can't remember.
Do you want to answer?
Need a couple. So call your local MP if they're not a Liberal and tell them to come in.
Prime Minister Mark Carney joking about picking up more seats after Conservative Leader Pierre Poilievre lost a second MP in as many days. Last night, Alberta MP Matt Genereux said he was resigning. Multiple sources telling CTV News he had been in talks with senior Liberal staffers about crossing the floor this week. But Conservative Party officials made it clear there would be consequences if he did. Genereux later denied there was any coercion involved in his decision, clarifying that he likely won't be leaving until the spring. The party now saying his announcement was expedited by Liberal pressure tactics.
The only rumors I've heard of intimidation and harassment are from Liberals badgering Conservatives in elevators and calling them at home.
The drama driving chatter among MPs ahead of a second confidence vote in the Commons today.
Matt's been a wonderful colleague, and I wish him all the best.
I think there's some soul-searching going on.
Monsieur McKinnon gets no.
The government survived the Bloc Québécois attempt to reject the budget. And now Liberals will spend the next week selling their spending plans before the key final vote on November 17th.
I sure hope that the opposition parties see how much is in that budget for their own regions.
The Liberals got one seat closer this week with MP Chris D'Entremont crossing the floor, but are still a few votes shy of a majority government. And with the Conservatives and Bloc making their opposition to the budget clear, the focus will be on how the NDP vote or don't the week after next. Heather?
Thank you, Rachel. CTV's Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. The sound of gunshots rang out on a BC farm, signifying the end of a months-long legal battle to save an ostrich flock where avian flu was detected last year. The Supreme Court said yesterday it would not hear the owner's appeal, finalizing the cull by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. CTV's Annie Bertrand-Oliver on the case gaining international headlines.
BC's Universal Ostrich Farm is unusually quiet. A drastic change from overnight when shots rang out for hours as the Canadian Food Inspection Agency shot and killed its flock of ostriches.
So all night our animals were put into a kill box of hay bales, traumatized. Their last moments were fear, and all of us had to listen to shot after shot after shot.
More than 300 birds were caught in the middle of a cull order 10 months in the making. The saga began last December when 69 ostriches died on the farm. The CFIA found traces of avian flu in 2 carcasses and ordered the flock culled to contain the virus. The owners fought and lost in 3 different courts, including the Supreme Court of Canada.
There were so many offers given to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency to use science over speculation and to choose discovery over destruction, but they chose destruction and to bring war.
The CFIA argued that allowing the birds to live increased the likelihood the avian flu virus would mutate. The department refused an interview request, but said in a statement that after consulting with experts experienced in managing ostrich disease outbreaks, the CFIA concluded that the most appropriate and humane option was to use professional marksmen in a controlled on-farm setting. All depopulation activities were completed under CFIA veterinary supervision. To help keep the peace, the RCMP says it was brought in at the request of the CFIA and remains on site for now.
When the decision came down, the mood was quite somber in the morning. Once the CFIA operation began, certainly those emotions bubbled up a bit.
Virologists say culling the herd was the best way to protect human health. Supporters who disagree continued to gather at the farm, saying they're angry and heartbroken, Heather, that this was allowed to happen.
Thanks, Annie. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver in the nation's capital tonight. Alberta is considering a boost in speed limit on rural divided highways to 120 kilometers per hour.
Matching design engineered speeds on rural divided highways with the actual speed limit to be 120 is something that we think would go a long way of reducing the commute times.
The province has launched an online survey running through December 12. If feedback is favorable, a mini trial run of higher posted speed limits would follow in the new year. Some surprising news for the Canadian economy, adding 67,000 jobs last month. Positive signs of a rebound in some markets, with the overall unemployment rate also down slightly. CTV's Heather Wright on where we're seeing the progress and who is still struggling to find work.
For an economy that has been blindsided by U.S. tariffs, today's job numbers are welcome news. Unemployment is down, wages are up, and even some sectors like manufacturing and transportation, which lost a significant number of jobs in the summer, appear to be rebounding.
Over the course of September and October, we're actually seeing kind of a recovery in these sectors, and the sort of the level of employment in both sectors, we're now back to where they were kind of closer to the spring.
Canada added 67,000 jobs last month, with the overall unemployment rate dipping slightly to 6.9%. And while experts say this jobs report is a sign the labor market is beginning to recover, many are still struggling.
I've been applying to more than 100 jobs.
Catherine So is 22 years old and has been searching for months for a job as an early childhood educator. She's open to other jobs as well to help pay the rent, but she's struggling to find anything.
I'm definitely concerned about not landing a job as soon as possible, especially because I don't have much money saved up.
So is not alone. The youth unemployment rate is the highest it has been in decades, though it did drop from 14.7% in September to 14.1% last month. Another area economists are watching is part-time work. All of October's job gains were part-time positions, a sign of uncertainty in the market.
When businesses are looking to hire, they don't want to hire full-time because they're not sure what the coming year is going to look like.
This strong jobs report now has many economists predicting the Bank of Canada will hold its overnight lending rate at its next rate announcement in December after 2 consecutive cuts. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Canadian yellow pea producers are being hit with a 30% tariff from India. It's another blow to a sector already reeling from China's trade dispute. CTV's Alison Bamford on how farmers are handling this second hit.
Terry Yuzwa's pea crop isn't worth much these days. Prices taking a bigger hit than canola, down 43% since China imposed its tariffs on both crops earlier this year.
So where we were getting 12 to 14 bucks in 24 a bushel, today we're getting 7.
Adding pressure to the price, this month India slapped a 30% tariff on imported yellow peas to support that country's domestic farmers. It's a 1-2 punch from Canada's biggest pea buyers that make up about 70% of the export market.
But it's never good news when you get a message that there's a 30% tariff. It's very frustrating because it's out of your control. You have enough challenges as a grower.
Yuzwa finished harvesting his peas in August. They're in the bins, and he said they'll stay there for now, waiting for better prices, but he can't hold off for too long.
I believe these are bumps in the road which will pass, but the question is when.
Uncertainty has some producers wondering what to plant next year. Growing peas has its benefits, especially for soil health, but financially right now it doesn't make sense.
when it comes down to dollars and cents, we are losing money by growing peas.
The industry is working to diversify its markets globally and here in Canada, but all that takes time, and it still might not be enough.
Hopefully we can, replace a certain portion of it, but I'm doubtful that we're able to replace it all.
Back at Yuzwa's farm, he's holding out hope that Canada can negotiate its way out of the tariffs.
We want our markets back.
Before farmers have to make some tougher decisions. Alison Bamford, CTV News, near Nipawin, Saskatchewan.
New details are emerging tonight about the fiery crash of a UPS plane at a Kentucky airport.
About 37 seconds after the crew called for takeoff thrust, a repeating bell was heard on the CVR, which persisted until the end of the recording 25 seconds later.
Investigators say the cockpit voice recorder captured a warning bell just seconds after the jet took off on Tuesday. The jet had a fire break out on its left wing and an engine fall off as it smashed into the ground. At least 14 people were killed, including 3 pilots on board. We're watching some major travel chaos unfold south of the border. More than 1,000 flights canceled and hundreds of delays at airlines, including in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, as the U.S. government shutdown rolls on, leaving frustrated travelers in long lines and short on patience. Joy Melvin explains.
For anyone catching a flight soon in the U.S., brace yourself. Thousands of flights being delayed or canceled altogether.
The anxiety from it was crazy, like all morning, just like seeing if we were going to be good to go, So, I don't know, it kind of sucks, but I think it's just going to get worse.
Oh, it is. The Trump administration ordered major airlines to drastically cut domestic flights at 40 of the busiest airports in America in the name of safety. Because of the government shutdown, thousands of TSA agents are working without pay, along with air traffic controllers who keep the skies safe, and with reports of burnout, calling out sick, or quitting altogether.
And so if this shutdown doesn't end relatively soon, the consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%.
The longest government shutdown in history is putting a strain on an already stressed system.
It's absurd. I think it's a complete failure of government, and the government serving itself and not the people. It's driving me nuts.
Even Canadians bound for the U.S. could get caught in the chaos.
The major airlines here in Canada will start to pull back on their flights because they don't have the slots to get in. But also, it's the overflying flights. Going down to the Caribbean, going down to South America. They have to fly over the U.S.
With so much uncertainty, the flying public is simply fed up and pointing the finger at the politicians.
It's just terrible. I feel like the American people are being held hostage right now.
With no negotiations in sight to end the government shutdown, the worse these flight cancellations will get. And the Thanksgiving travel rush is just weeks away. Heather?
Thanks, Joy. CTV's Joy Melvin in Washington. Just days after being hit by one deadly typhoon, the Philippines is bracing for another one. This radar footage shows Typhoon Fenghuang, which is expected to become a super typhoon before making landfall late Sunday. Earlier this week, Typhoon Kilmegi claimed the lives of at least 188 people there. Vietnam is still cleaning up from that same storm where at least 5 people were killed. On the other side of the world, Jamaica is still trying to recover from the devastation of Hurricane Melissa. The country's High Commissioner thanking Canada tonight for the millions in support Ottawa has earmarked for relief efforts. CTV's John Van Valley Rao shows us the dire need for that help.
There was just so much damage done in Jamaica, some think it'll take a generation to fully recover. And it's scenes like this of communities devastated that has led to a heartwarming response from Canadians from coast to coast.
Thank you so much for all the love and support.
At the Jamaican consulate in Toronto, officials expressing gratitude for the very latest offer to help from the Kiwanis Foundation, with donations of food, medication, and other needed items being collected by all sorts of groups who've also been holding fundraisers.
We're getting the help right now, but it's going to be something that we need to sustain for a while.
Some 24 communities in Jamaica remain cut off following landslides and flooding. Tens of thousands have been displaced, and one estimate puts damages at $6 billion U.S.
Initial estimates show that the damage caused is approximately the equivalent of 30% of Jamaica's GDP, a figure that's expected to rise.
This is the house of my cousin.
Chris Price is originally from Jamaica and showed us video of his cousin's home, which was essentially destroyed, along with his sister's place. As is common on the island, neither had insurance, so Price set up a GoFundMe to help them rebuild.
From the pictures that we're seeing, it's catastrophic, right? You might as well just toss everything out because there's nothing that is retrievable there.
It's estimated roofs were ripped off of 120,000 structures, with help coming from many nations.
Meanwhile, a Canadian Forces team of about 20 members is now in Jamaica, currently assisting global affairs and assessing the situation on the ground. John Benavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
I'm Maria Saru in Charlottetown, coming up on CTV National News. Canadians skipping bills to afford groceries.
It's getting harder all the time.
I usually try to aim for as many sales as I can.
What kind of payments they're pushing off to put food on the table. Coming up on CTV National News.
Baseball legend Darryl Strawberry has just received a pardon from Donald Trump. A three-time World Series champ, Strawberry pleaded guilty in 1995 to tax evasion for failing to report hundreds of thousands of dollars in income from autographs, memorabilia sales, and personal appearances. Strawberry is the second cast member of Trump's Celebrity Apprentice reality show to receive a pardon. We are getting a troubling look at the cost of living crisis in this country. A new survey for CTV News is shedding light on just how many Canadians are forced to choose between paying a bill and buying groceries. CTV's Maria Saru on those feeling the strain.
The doors swish open at this Charlottetown store. Carts rattle out and islanders load groceries into their cars. But some say putting food on the table comes with trade-offs.
It's getting harder all the time.
I usually try to aim for as many sales as I can.
The more it's getting higher, it's affecting our daily bills. My car insurance, the fuel, my phone bill, my rent, the groceries, and all that stuff.
New Nanos research for CTV News found 1 in 5 Canadians have skipped paying bills to buy groceries in the past year, and those under 55 were 4 times more likely to do so. Inflation and high housing costs are major factors contributing to the generational divide, says Chief Data Scientist Nick Nanos.
What's clear is that there's a significant proportion of Canadians that are facing those really tough choices. It's quite striking. I think in any other world, this would be considered an epidemic.
13% said they skipped bills sometimes or often, but a regional breakdown shows that number is highest in the Atlantic provinces at 24.2%. The data aligns with other research, says Joshua Smee with Food First NL.
All 4 provinces have upwards of 25% of people being food insecure. Our unemployment rate has generally been higher than the rest of the country. There are more people struggling economically.
He adds that means a higher number of people relying on social assistance or income supports. Shoppers here tell me what would really help is lower prices at grocery stores. But for now, many will keep making compromises. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Still ahead, paying tribute to our military members. Stories of service and sacrifice among Indigenous veterans.
We will never forget your bravery, your strength, your sacrifice.
The very best and bravest of our nation, these heroic souls stood on guard for freedom.
Join the CTV News team and me as Canada comes together to remember.
Remembrance Day 2025, Tuesday morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on CTV.
As we approach Remembrance Day, Canadians are taking the time to honor those who have served our country. CTV's Alex Carba takes us to a commemoration marking the service and sacrifice of Indigenous veterans.
Indigenous veterans honored on the eve of Indigenous Veterans Day.
It's a time commemorating the service and sacrifice Indigenous members gave to Canada's military. Wandi Wakita began serving in 1958 and did peacekeeping missions in Germany and Cyprus. He says this time of year is emotional for him.
That was not our war. We volunteered to go. We want to look after our land.
Veterans Affairs Canada says more than 4,000 Indigenous people served during the First World War, with well over 3,000 more answering the call during the Second World War. Hundreds more expanded duties in the Korean War. Devin Beaudry joined the military in 1978 when he was just 18 years old, spending 35 years in the Royal Canadian Air Force. For Beaudry, it's a time to remember all those who came before him.
Sergeant Tommy Prince, remembering him and his sacrifices that he made, not just for Canada, but also for his communities, and how they treated him when he got back.
Systemic discrimination against Indigenous veterans began as soon as they returned home from service.
I acknowledged we failed you.
The Canadian Armed Forces recently apologized for its role in the racial discrimination and harassment current and former members faced while on the job. For Wakita, he wants to see peace around the world.
I want all of us to live together in a good way.
Indigenous Veterans Day was recognized by the federal government in 1994. The latest numbers show that there are 23,000 Indigenous veterans across the country, with around 2,700 Indigenous members actively serving. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Still ahead tonight, the world's tallest teen makes history, hitting another record. Just how tall is he? Straight ahead. A Canadian basketball player who is also the world's tallest teenager set the bar high again with a brand new record.
And this crowd is in a frenzy because Olivier Rioux has just taken the shirt off, and he's getting set to not only enter this game, but break the record.
7'9" Olivier Rioux, now the tallest person to ever play U.S. college basketball. The crowd chanting, "We want Ollie," before the coach put him into last night's game for the final 2 minutes.
It felt great. The support from everybody was amazing, even on the bench and even in the fans. I think everybody supported, and I'm very grateful.
The 19-year-old from Terrebonne, Quebec, is used to getting a lot of attention, including a profile by W5 2 years ago. His teammates say he has worked hard to get here.
When he was checking into the game, I kind of stopped him, and I was like, play with confidence. You've worked your butt off for 2 years now to get to this spot. Now's your moment.
A big moment, but a calm reaction by Rioux when asked about setting the record.
It's another day, I guess.
And for some perspective, number 22 there on the right is 6'8". That is our newscast for this Friday. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.